Hey guys, what is up? Hope you're having a fantastic day so far, and the new Steven Universe episodes are out, so if you have the Cartoon Network app, or if you have cable service, or PlayStation View, you can watch these episodes, so just be warned if you haven't seen them yet, I will be spoiling these episodes, so just be warned about that. But with that, let's get into the review. So in all the promotional stuff, there was a lot of hype about all of our questions being answered, and did this Steven Bomb, or specifically the episode Your Mother and Mine, do that? No, it did not, unfortunately, which kind of sucks because it was really hyped up, but I mean, pretty much what this episode did was just give us new details, but not really answer anything. So we first start off with Lars and the Off-Colors, and they're in their ship, and they are trying to fix their Nova thrusters, trying to get to Earth. And then Steven comes in through Lars's hair, and while they're talking, Fluorite comes up and says that she's repaired the Nova thrusters. They try to use them, they don't work, so they're just kind of floating out in space, so Steven brings Garnet onto the ship. And originally, when Lars was asking how big this person was, Steven said, oh, they don't have to be bigger than me. And I thought he was going to bring in Ruby and Sapphire separately, and I thought that would have been really cute because the Off-Colors would have gotten to see Ruby and Sapphire and then fused together into Garnet, and I think specifically Rhodonite would have liked that a lot, but she just comes in as the Steven tag version of Steven, so it was like a nice little callback to that. So that was a cute moment, just not what I was originally expecting with that setup of the line. So Garnet gets on the ship and she starts complimenting all of the Off-Colors. Like, I love Rhodonite and Fluorite especially, because she's like super into fusion and relationships, so seeing her like talk to Rhodonite, just be like, oh, I want to hear all about your story. And Fluorite, she just said that she's beautiful, and also with Pat Paracha, she thinks that Pat Paracha is very rare, an orange sapphire, so there's already a connection there between Garnet having the sapphire in her fusion. And then she also talks to the Rutile twins and just says like, oh, I've never seen a gem like you before, which was probably the weakest compliment out of all of them. But the Off-Colors are not used to getting compliments, so they're kind of like offended almost at first by Garnet, and so Garnet makes a comment about how they're acting like how she was before she met Rose Quartz. And with the name of Rose Quartz being mentioned, all the Off-Colors get freaked out. And we kind of learned that on Homeworld, Rose Quartz was, basically called the anti-gem, that she was going to destroy all gems, which makes sense. And Garnet even makes a statement like, oh, that makes sense why they would tell these stories on Homeworld, like this version of the story on Homeworld. There's one interesting comment here, though, from the Rutile twins, and they said that Rose Quartz was made from a defective vein of quartz. And I find that interesting because I've never really considered that different veins of, a gem material could be bad or defective. Like an entire just batch of gems could be defective if the place in the Earth's crust where they emerge from was defective or not up to standards with what a gem needs for resources to be able to grow. So that was interesting, and I could see like theories being made off of that, but I think it was just a story that they told on Homeworld. But I'd be curious to see if that's something that actually happens in Homeworld colonies. But after hearing, the concern from the Off-Colors about Rose Quartz and her being a villain, essentially, Garnet's like, no, it's okay, I will explain the actual story here. And a lot of this is what we saw in the promotion for these episodes. So we didn't really learn anything that new, because a lot of what was shown in the promo was what was shown in here. One of the things that we do see, though, is all those quartz that are like being built around in a circle, and there was like this big giant bright object in the middle, and from what I can tell, it doesn't really represent anything. It was just kind of put there just to represent Rose Quartz as her being like the first to really think differently and think outside of Homeworld standards. So, I mean, it was kind of disappointing because I was looking at that. I was like, that looks really important, but it was just kind of to build up Rose Quartz and just to look nice, I guess. I don't know. I was kind of let down by that because I thought that was going to be something bigger than it was being in the actual episode. And then we just get some little cuts here of Rose being just a quartz, fulfilling her duty as a quartz soldier. It's interesting to see her in like the quartz attire, but yeah, we just get to see Rose kind of hanging out with the other quartzes, and Garnet explains that, the longer she was on Earth and working as a quartz soldier, she became more interested in the Earth and life on Earth. We actually do legit get some nice little scenes here of her experiencing Earth. So some interesting backstory there with Rose, and how she became interested in Earth and how she grew to love humans. And then we find out that Pink Diamond hears about Rose Quartz and how she's becoming more interested in Earth and the humans and life on Earth, and so Rose tries to ask Pink Diamond to leave the Earth alone, and of course Pink Diamond says no, and that's where that shot of Pink Diamond comes in from the promo, is in this moment here. And again, I think it's really weird that Jungle Moon aired before this, because we already know what Pink Diamond looks like, and I don't know, it's like if they were gonna have her face blacked out, I think it would have been more interesting to reverse, the order of these episodes, to have Your Mother and Mine first, and then to have Jungle Moon after. I think that would have made more sense. But, I know plot-wise that may not have worked, but I mean, this is just a flashback episode anyway, so I don't see why they couldn't do that. But I think it just would have added a lot more to this moment, instead of already knowing what Pink Diamond looks like. But essentially, after being brushed off by Pink Diamond, Rose is pissed, and so she just decides, hey, you know what, I'm not going to be a quartz soldier anymore, and she just straight up transforms from her homeworld quartz form, uniform, whatever you want to call it, and just goes into her dress, just like that. Which I thought was just kind of weird and interesting, like, why would she pick a dress, or how she would know how to do that? I don't know, it was kind of confusing. I don't know, I wanted to like this episode. I do like it, but it was just, I don't know, there's stuff in it that just kind of made me go, why? This was one of those moments. And apparently Rose already knew that she could float and fly and glide down, and I don't know, it was I don't know, this frustrated me a little bit here, but she rallies the other quartzes up. It's explained that Pink Diamond called for Yellow and Blue's help because Rose was kind of gaining traction at this point. And then we get introduced to some familiar faces here. So we have Pearl, and Garnet says a pearl that belonged to nobody. And I think at face value you can take that as, oh, she didn't have an owner, but based on what has been said before, in Bubbled, Garnet said that for Pearl to be free, Rose had to shatter Pink Diamond. So that implies that she did belong to somebody. So I think it's more so saying that she didn't belong to anybody once she joined the Crystal Gems, once she joined the rebellion. And then we also get Bismuth here, and just her being, basically a blacksmith for the Crystal Gems. Instead of using her skills to build homeworld structures and to colonize planets, she is now building and creating the weapons to, fight back against homeworld. And then, of course, we get Ruby and Sapphire fusing into Garnet here as another member of the Crystal Gems. And then this shot that was used in the promo of all four of them just standing together. And then also the shot with the flag and all the weapons. And then we get the shot of Rose shattering Pink Diamond, and even the off colors are like, yay, that's great that Pink Diamond was shattered. I mean, which makes sense because Homeworld doesn't like the off colors, so I guess it would make sense for them to be happy about someone dying like that. And even Lars is like, wow, your mom's pretty amazing for doing all that. I just find it funny though that they're just so cool and okay with murder, essentially. I don't know, I just kind of found that comical at how happy they were. Like, yay, your mom killed somebody. I mean, it was for a good reason, good intention, but I just found that funny. And then Rhodonite asked, what happened to the other crystal gems, and then we get a shot here of the diamonds. And man, does White Diamond have a neck. I mean, we were calling Yellow Diamond the giraffe, but geez, White Diamond beats Yellow Diamond easily. Boy, White Diamond, we were so excited just to see White Diamond's hand, and then we get this shot right before the hand shot in this episode, and it's just like, I think it's exaggerated a little bit here, but I mean, I really want to see White Diamond, and I'm just concerned with her design for having a neck like this long. It just looks kind of odd. I don't know. I think it looks like an odd design choice. Again, I think it's exaggerated a little bit for this art style, but getting kind of worried here about what she's actually gonna look like. But anyway, we get the shot of the diamonds firing off the corruption song, and we get that shot used in the promo of Rose shielding Garnet and Pearl, and there was no transition from this flashback. It was just like, okay, we have the art style. Literally, the shot before, it was in that same art style of like the black silhouettes. You could see the stars in space before, and then it just transitions to just normal on-model, style animation for the show. It's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff in here, and I was so hyped for this episode, and I'm just like, oh, God, like, this could have been so great. It could have been so good. But there's a lot of little things in here that just kind of like bug me, and just not having, just being in the art style, and then the next shot just completely going back to the main art style of the show. It's odd, to say the least. But anyway, Garnet ends her story here, and they kind of come to the same conclusion that even though Homeworld and the actual story, are told differently, they both have the same ending, which is that Rose Quartz lost. Now, call me crazy, but I thought that Rose Quartz won, because I specifically remember that there was a scene, and maybe I'm just thinking about the strawberry battlefield. I'll find the clip if I can, but I thought Pearl said that they won.
But we won! Your mother led us to glorious victory. The odds were against us, and our hearts were uncertain. But we chose to fight alongside Rose, and here we made our stand against our homeworld.
That the strawberry battlefield was where they held their own or something like that, and that's where they won, or maybe they were talking about that specific battle or something, but I never got the impression that they lost, because I thought losing would mean that the Earth was going to get colonized, which it didn't, and the diamonds aren't making any effort to colonize it. They're just trying to destroy it with the cluster. So I don't know. They thought they lost. I mean, they lost a lot of gems who were on their side, which I guess could mean that they lost, that there's only 4 of them left, essentially, if you're counting Rose as Steven. I don't know. It's like I keep saying, it's just kind of frustrating to sit here and just have all this kind of thrown at us. I didn't think that they lost. It was never really implied that they did lose. And even Rhodonite's just well, how is this supposed to motivate us? And so Garnet actually does give a very good speech here, about how the off-colors already kind of embody what Rose Quartz and the Crystal Gems stand for, and it kind of fires them up, and it gets them excited to get to Earth, so that they can be free from Homeworld. And then Steven and Garnet have a moment, and this is just kind of another frustrating moment. Steven's talking to Garnet about how he saw a vision while he was fused with Connie as Stevani, about Pink Diamond and that moment on the Jungle Moon, and Garnet's dismissive, oh, she's dead, she's gone, and then Steven's no, that her presence was so strong that I feel she could still be out there. And that's not just a line I feel would be just put out there and just never touched upon again. That's a pretty big assumption there. And just, I don't know how I'd feel about Pink, because what would Pink Diamond be doing this entire time if she was still alive? is the question. And just, I don't know, I mean, like 2 years ago, if you were like a rose quartz is pink diamond or pink diamond is lion kind of a theorist, I would say that they're plausible, but now they're like becoming, debunked the further we go into the show. And so for that line to get put in there, it kind of like brings all those, debunked theories back. And it just, I don't know, it's, like I said, this episode was kind of frustrating for me. Like, I liked it, but it's very frustrating at certain points. But I think this conversation between Steven and Garnet actually does kind of end on a nice note where Garnet's like, you have empathy powers. It's not something that you should be afraid of. It's something that you should celebrate because it makes you different. So eventually the off-colors get the ship up and running again, but they need to land at another colony in order to get more parts for the ship. So their next stop is going to be Yellow Diamond's asteroid field. So that's where they're heading, and so Lars is like, all right, let's go. It's going to be dangerous, but we're going to get them. And it just, like, cuts after the ship takes off with, like, Garnet and Steven inside. And then the very next episode, they're not on the ship anymore. And I'm just, was this episode not supposed to be here? Like, it made it seem like that would be the next episode, is Garnet and Steven helping the off-colors get through it, like, through this asteroid field. But it's, like, I liked the episode. I liked it. But it's very frustrating. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed and frustrated at it right now. There was a lot of hype, and they showed basically a bunch of the episode through the promo that was tweeted out last week. We didn't get any questions answered, really. We just got new details and a little bit more backstory on Rose. And that's essentially it. And we know where Lars and the off-colors are heading, which is to an area that is colonized by Yellow Diamond, and that it's going to be dangerous is what we learned from this. Again, I don't dislike the episode. It was just, I was expecting more from it. But I mean, overall, it was fine. I liked it. I just wasn't as wowed by it as I was hoping or as I thought I'd be. But let me know what you guys think. I know this was probably a little bit of a downer in terms of a review, but just let me know what you guys think. Were you happy with this episode? Did you like it? Were you expecting more from this episode? Let me know in the comments below because I would love to hear it. But with that, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more Steven Universe related content. And until next time, guys, take care.